Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Nerd Age. This is the show where we talk about everything nerdy. My name is Mick. With me, as always, are my co-hosts, Josh.
What's up?
Corey.
Hello, hello.
And Jonah.
Hoo-hoo.
Hoo-hoo, indeed. Welcome to the show, guys. It's Rings of Power time.
Yeah.
Rings of Power, episode 6. Same as always, we're just going to go straight into some spoiler talk. So if you have not watched the episode, go watch the episode, come back, and listen to us spoil it. So let's get into it. What do you guys think?
Corey, go for it. You're first.
I'm kind of mixed on it. I'm mixed. I've got mixed feelings on this. I think overall, like after the first, like during when I first watched it, I was like, this is good. Like I was enjoying it.
Right.
But then like, as I started thinking about it, I was like, oh, wait a second. Well, what about this? What about that? Wait, why did they make this decision? And so I started kind of breaking down the episode. And so I think that's maybe to my own
You're
detriment.
not supposed to think about it. You're supposed to enjoy it. Shut your brain off. Consume it.
I think that's, yeah. So I like what they're doing where you're getting to spend more time with the different like storylines, right?
Yeah.
So that was good. It was also about time that we got to see some like cool action, some battles and stuff like that.
It's about dang time.
So that was awesome as well. I think the kind of stuff with Adar and then kind of like how the battle just went was interesting because they had a couple twists and turns.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But yeah, I'll try not to go on the negatives yet. But what'd you think?
I really liked it. I think obviously everyone's talking about the ending of the episode with Mount Doom basically being created or erupting, which I thought was really cool how they did that. And so that's kind of like what everyone's talking about. But I just thought in general, everything to me worked really good. I'm really loving Adar and kind of the backstory they've given him, and they've obviously haven't given us all the details, but you're picking up things here and there, and I just really love the actor. Like he's doing such a good job. The dialogue he had with Galadriel in there, talking about the orcs and all that was really cool. And so those were things that I really liked. I liked how the action picked up. You know, it's been kind of, a lot of people have complained about how it's been kind of slow. I thought the choreography of the battle and everything was cool. My favorite scene, and I'm going to compare this a little bit with, if you've listened to the show at all, you've heard us talk about Star Wars and other stuff, but we talked about Book of Boba Fett, and we talked about the speeder gang and how slow the speeders looked in the chase. When she's chasing Adar on the horse, when there's that scene, it was fast. It looked awesome. The music was incredible. And so that I think was one of my favorite scenes, just because it felt like so epic. Like when she's running off and she goes to the side of the horse, you know, and kills the guys and then is chasing after them. They're going through the woods. Like that kind of stuff really worked for me. Like you said, I think the twist they had where, you know, they're all stoked and they're all like excited and then they realize they've been killing all the people that defected basically. That was cool. But yeah, I thought this was, if it's not my favorite episode, it's right there. Because I just thought everything worked for me. That the acting was good. The music was just awesome. And I thought we finally got the action we've been wanting to kind of see. So
yeah, the big difference between like the scooter gang scene and this, the chase scene with the horses, is that Lord of the Rings or Rings of Power is actually using foreground to show you the speed by going sun, 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 and it was almost like a slideshow effect. Whereas the scooter gang didn't have any foreground movement. It was all just like from wide shots. And when you go wide shots like that, everything feels slower than it actually is. And so, yeah, no, I appreciated that scene. That scene was good, well shot. Yeah. What about you, Josh? Would you like, dislike?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I think there was, like, obviously everyone's going to talk about the action, which I thought was really well done. I think we've all been waiting for, like, all right, when's Numenor going to get there? and yeah, finally getting some fights with the orcs, I think was really cool. I think that fight scene with that big orc, Arondir fighting that big orc,
was cool.
I think it was really well shot too. Like just with the perspective they were giving you, like pretty clever camera angles of like kind of shifting the perspective and him kind of even jumping almost towards the camera in a way. I know we've kind of said that maybe we don't like when the blood squirts on the camera, but I thought the way they were shooting that scene, I thought it was really well done.
The eyeball scene was nuts.
That was pretty crazy, dude. I was like, close your mouth, bro.
Yeah.
He's bleeding in there. You know what I mean? You don't know.
They can't
These
be
orcs aren't
sanitary.
tested, bro.
You don't know
know
where
what
he's
I mean?
been.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was a really cool fight scene. Same thing. I really liked the Adar stuff, the kind of reveal of that he's one of the original elves that was first corrupted. I thought was a really cool thing to explore. I also really liked kind of how, well, he's technically an orc now, but he's still doing the things the elves do. Like at the beginning, you see him planting the seed.
That was cool.
That Arondir kind of talks about later. So you can kind of see he's still has some elvish things that he does. So I think it's kind of an interesting concept to explore. Yeah, and I think probably my favorite stuff was more of the conversations that were happening with between the characters. Like action aside, I really like the Elendil Isildur stuff,
Yeah, that was
where
good.
they're kind of bonding, talking about his mother and stuff like that. And I really liked kind of the stuff. I think we've talked about it before with Galadriel, giving her more of that arc. I think it's finally coming to the foreground a little more of like, yeah, there's a reason why she's so headstrong, and it's not a good thing. Like people complain about that, and it's like, yeah, it's not like the writers are just like, yeah, she's just headstrong. It's like there's a reason for it, and I think we keep seeing people keep mentioning that to her, and I think just the fact that Adar's like, hey, maybe you should have stopped, whatever that line he says to her, your search for whatever Morgoth's replacement should have stopped in your own mirror. And it's something we've heard Gil-galad mention too. It's like, yeah, well, I kind of sent her away because I didn't want her to bring back the evil.
The flame.
The flame.
The flame you're trying to put out, if you can,
Right.
by blowing it out, that same wind can revive it.
Yeah. So I liked that kind of development in the story going a little further. And yeah, you mentioned it already, Jonah, the Mount Doom thing. I think in my mind, I had already said, oh yeah, I think they're going to make Mount Doom erupt, but I didn't, in my mind, it was like, oh, it's going to be some magical thing that, what I mean? Like I was trying to think how they were going to explain it. And then
less like science-y.
The way they did it was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. It made perfect sense to me. And then, just the reveal of like how they did it. I was like, oh, that's perfect. That really works. And I hadn't thought of it. In my mind, I mean, I'm a simpleton. I was like, it's just going to magically make the mountain explode, So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode overall.
Yeah, I would say it's probably my favorite episode out of all of them. Mainly for the reasons you guys have said. The action was probably the best. It was fun seeing. I'm really liking. I always pronounce his name wrong. Is it Arondir?
Arondir, yeah.
Arondir, yeah. I'm really enjoying him in the show. I think he's really good. And then, yeah, I think Galadriel showed more of her like wisdom side when she's like talking to Isildur on the boat.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that scene a lot.
That was good.
It was good seeing that like there is that side of her still, even though the show really hasn't delved that much into it yet. But yeah, like you said, it's good seeing that and making her arc a little more obvious, which is good. But yeah, the action was great. It reminded me a lot of like Helm's Deep, just the beats that they were going through. And I mean, that's not a bad thing at all. I think it's good to complement stuff that's done before, especially in the Lord of the Rings universe. So just stuff like that was just fun to see. And again, I love the practical stuff that they're doing. Like obviously there were, tons of horses, riders on horses, galloping through the field. The practical orcs were great. And the stunt work, I think, has just been really fun. So, and then, yeah, Mount Doom, obviously. I was kind of surprised. I figured like maybe that would be like a season 2 or maybe season 3 thing. It came a little earlier than I thought, but you know, I'm not complaining because it had to happen at some point, and it was really cool to see. So, yeah, I'd probably say it's my favorite episode so far.
What are your the negatives that you wanted to? Because we're about to fight. Get your popcorn ready.
Yeah, we're gonna fight. So a big reason why I like this episode is a reason why maybe I didn't like it as much. I think what you're alluding to, the whole Helm's Deep, Battle of Helm's Deep, there was a lot. Like there were so many similarities that it was almost too much for me. Just a lot of the story beats and just kind of like the Legolas 2.0, like going off and soloing, you know, and like the whole go to the keep, and it's like like it's the tavern, and it's like, yeah, I mean, this is like a common kind of like,
It's a common fantasy trope, I guess. But
I guess, but it's like very prevalent in Lord of the Rings, and so it bugged me a little bit, maybe, and then it also kind of bugged me. So that was one thing, and then another thing that bugged me was like, just kind of had like the writing of kind of like the timeline of the fight, like, like so they're in this tower, and this tower apparently is held together by one rope, and is easily just, and then it all crumbles down. So that's something I'm not a big fan of. I wish that there was a little bit, maybe more like teamwork, maybe like the whole, like they had to band together and like break some of it to like make it more believable.
it was a deleted scene.
Okay, perfect. Then it's okay. But yeah, so that was kind of weird for me. It felt cheap. And then the fact that they have this like amazingly like fortified, like almost like isolated like tower, a little fort thing, and they opted to dip out of there. And I was like, that's so weird. Because if you look at like the shot of it, there's like tiny little bridges to get up there. It's really hard to get up there. So I'm like, wouldn't that be the best place to like, I know this is getting kind of nitpicky, but wouldn't that be the best way to defend is a place where you have to funnel in and you can't approach from all sides, like a town, you can approach from all sides. And it's just kind of weird. So, and then also like, why didn't the orcs have like a scout to make sure they didn't like dip out early? Like that was kind of weird too. Like all of a sudden, bam, they snuck out and they're like in a field, like a mile away. Like they're good. Like, dang, they moved a lot of people really quickly without anyone seeing that. So that bugged me a little bit. And then, yeah, just kind of I think that's kind of the biggest things. Yeah. Those are the biggest things. And it's not like acting or anything. That was just how they wrote the story. And so,
yeah.
So for me, it just felt a little
convenience
cheap.
for
little cheap.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not even convenient. It's just like, why would they make those decisions when there's alternatives? And I just thought of them up, right now. Like they didn't have to do that. They're like, oh, now that we're in the town, we have the advantage. It's like, no, you guys would have a huge advantage in that keep. But
I think they were going for the whole aspect, like we'll draw them all in and then we'll kill a big amount.
Yeah,
of
I think
numbers.
they assumed that it would take out most.
That's what I think that's what they were kind of thinking. And then when they're like, oh, then they say, oh, we spotted some, like our scouts have spotted some, so it's like let's fortify. But I think that's kind of the mentality is like we lure them in and then kill a bunch of them and deal with the rest instead of like staying in one place and having a siege where we have no chance.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying like it doesn't really feel right to me because the army was so big that even if you filled that like little like fortress to the brim with people, that wouldn't even be half the army.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is just like, I know you guys are like, oh, come on, Corey, this is getting really nitpicky, but it's just,
you're talking to the nitpick master.
When it comes to like believability, it's just a little bit harder. So,
hey, I only nitpick Marvel.
Yeah, selective nitpicking. But yeah, so that was kind of weird. And then also the whole, I wish they would have had some kind of magical reveal of deception with the deserters basically being the orcs and them like fighting each other, and then they're like, oh man, lift up the mask, oh my gosh, we fought our own kind, that's crazy. Because I mean,
they do that?
What?
And didn't they do that in the show?
Yeah, I'm saying,
but you wish they didn't have that.
Oh, sorry, I was just setting up what I was about to say.
Oh.
So I felt like that was weird because the shots prior to that, they're all orcs. And then I wish that they would have had a magical, like, like a visage, like a visage, like fades from their face now that they're dead. Like, they did look like orcs, but now, it was just a magical enchantment or something like that. That would have been really cool. Because otherwise it's just like, you guys just didn't look close enough. Like, not everyone had masked helmets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I
So it's
think
like
there
when you're in the
also-
heat of it fighting, you're going to notice who you're fighting.
I think there also were orcs like mixed in with
Yeah,
the
they were all
too,
orcs.
but-
So go look back at it. And there was at the beginning shot, yes, there was orcs. But then when they show all the dead with the reveal of like, dude, we followed our own kind, there was like none. So that for me was like a weird aspect of it.
Yeah, I think there's also an aspect of it that they're
Trying to trick
Villagers.
the viewer.
well, I mean that too, but like if you're a villager, there's all sorts of things going on. You're freaked out. You're just fighting for your life, basically. I would argue
Sorry.
that person's not really like,
I'm not so
hey,
sorry.
hold up. You know what I mean?
So the other things were more like technical like issues I had. This one's more of a flavor thing.
Yeah.
I wish they would have had that like more magical aspect of it. That would have been cool for me because I'd be like, like I know Sauron has that power. It's like, wouldn't that be sick if like this other guy has like a little bit of dark magic? That would be so sick if that was the case. That was just a preference thing.
Yeah, I got you.
Because it's harder for me to believe that everyone was like caught off guard.
It's like Three Amigos where
They're all wearing
they all wear the suit and it's all the same actors. And then at the end they're like, it's all the villagers. And you're like,
Exactly.
they don't even look like Steve Martin.
And then it's like going back to the Helm's Deep thing. I mean, aspects of like go back to the keep and like we got to stop them here and like setting traps with like the fire and stuff like that. And then like a lot of lines are very similar to Helm's Deep. I can't recall them, but like we just gotta last till dawn. Dawn will come soon. And then there's Gandalf on his horse. I mean, the Numenorians coming with Galadriel. There's like a mirror. It was a mirror image. And so, those are just things I noticed that I was just like, I had this episode ranked a lot higher. Like number one, like I really enjoyed this one a lot. Now it's like, I did enjoy it, but it just wasn't my like favorite. Just because of that cheapness. I felt like it was a little bit of a rip off of that battle. So
Makes sense.
that's it.
That's interesting. I mean, that's a totally valid criticism. It's interesting that I see it like as a plus and you see it as a not so much of a plus, but
Think about
it's
like
just-
episode 7, Star Wars, where people like this like
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, how people saw that
right,
as
it's a ripoff.
it's a mirrored image of
right, New Hope and
exactly. So it's like that same idea, but for me, instead of me thinking it was just lazy writing, I just felt like it just felt a little bit cheaper. That's all. Just didn't feel as authentic for the setup. But yeah. But I really did like it. I mean, the action was good. The fighting was good. I think the effects were really excellent at the end. Yeah. Wow. Really good.
I
That
love
looked
seeing
awesome.
like the lightning inside the cloud.
Yeah,
man.
as the clouds coming
was
towards
sweet.
Galadriel was like, that looks sick.
What do you think
that
was
really
going through
cool.
her mind at that point? Just like
I can't outrun this.
I'll take whatever's coming.
I can't outrun this, and I'm in shock.
yeah.
That's so crazy.
And since she's a good actress, you could read that pretty
Exactly.
well in her face.
Thank you, Mick.
yeah,
She's
the
a
blank
fantastic-
stare of defeat. Yeah, she's good at that. She's good at that one.
Yeah, I think that's kind of one of the biggest, for me, that was really cool to kind of see that. And it kind of sets up, like, I don't know, I'm trying to
Kind of.
figure out how this season is going to end, because I feel like it has to end on like a pretty big cliffhanger, I think. And is that like, are they going to reveal who Sauron is at the end?
No.
It's just kind of it because I thought in my mind when you had mentioned, Mount Doom's going to blow up or whatever, I was like, that's probably going to be the last thing that happens.
Right.
in
And
the
that's
season.
it ends right there.
And
Yeah.
so there's 2 episodes. So I'm like, you're going to have something to
It
give
blows up again.
the final, like in,
And then
like I
again.
think about Lost, where he's like, we have to go back. You're like, what? They got off the island? What? And then you have to wait a whole year to see what happened. It's like, what's gonna be the thing that leaves you like, what? I have to wait a year and a half,
Yeah.
2 years to see that. So I'm just curious now. Is it going to be Sauron reveal? Is it going to be Bombadil putting the boots on like we talked?
Yeah, baby.
Suiting up?
Rise of Bombadil.
Suiting
Yeah,
up.
but guys have any theories on what you think?
I mean, my first thing would have been Mount Doom. That's just like such a big thing to happen and such a cliffhanger that, you know, that's why I said it was like, it just seemed early, but still cool to see. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it probably ends with Celebrimbor starting to forge the rings. I think that's our end.
Is that okay? I mean, that's cool and all, but is that like something that's going to be like
No, it's not.
epic enough?
I think it has to be that is going to be part of it. That's going to be part of that episode or next episode. It might be the last episode though. It has to either be because there's something there with the Numenorians, the leader guy who's still at Numenor. What's up with him? What's his name?
Pharazôn.
So obviously he is doing his own thing.
Yeah.
That's going to be something. So that's a story point. And then we also have the kind of tension / the mithril situation. That's another thing. And then we have Galadriel in the aftermath of the Mount Doom situation too.
Don't forget the Hardfoots and Meteor Man.
Ooh, yeah, and his magical sick blast force powers.
That's right.
What if
And the ice touch, dude. Icy touch.
What if they?
Healing icy touch.
I mean, I feel
Icy
like
hot.
I feel like
Icy hot.
anything other
Yeah,
than
dude, it's
Mount
sick.
Doom is going to sound a little smaller. But like, what if they awaken the Balrog or something, and it ends on
We
that?
did see a clip of a Balrog
In the
Yeah, in
trailer.
the
trailers,
right?
but we did. I mean, that could have been just from the story. I don't know. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Or what about this? The Hardfoots get to a spot, and then another like little guy comes walking up. He's like, "Hello, my name is Smeagol."
That'd
No,
be the worst.
no, guys.
I'd be pissed.
No? Yeah.
You mean
compressing
Smeagol?
the timeline a ton.
Whoa. Before,
Smeagol,
right
nice
after the mountain.
Mr. Smeagol.
For those who don't know, that ends up being Gollum. In case you
Spoiler
didn't know.
alert.
Spoilers. Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
That's a joke.
Oh,
No.
you threw me off big time.
Yeah, you guys don't know what to
Oh
say
my
now, huh?
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I were to make a guess, yeah, let's make guesses on how it's going to end.
I think it's going to end with Sauron being revealed.
Okay.
I think that's going to be the thing, and it's going to be like, oh my gosh, that's Sauron. And then, yeah.
Okay, so any form of Sauron, it doesn't have to be like a public facing.
It doesn't have to be a public.
We see
who saw it. Could be him in his
Whatever-
armor. It could be something. It could be a flashback
Okay.
to something, but it's going to be like
A flashback?
our first look
Oh, no.
at Sauron's
It has to be a real
face. Like I mean, we saw his outline, the armor, but I think they're gonna give you a look at Sauron, even if it's like someone talking about Sauron and it shows a flashback. You're gonna see
Oh,
more of a physical thing. But I think they're gonna reveal.
if it's a flashback, that's not really a reveal.
I think they're gonna reveal that. I think they're going with Halbrand is Sauron. I think they might do a little
Nah,
reveal
I'm
with
I'm still saying no. I think they're playing into it too much.
Yeah.
I
They're
think,
doing that to fool people like you.
Yeah.
The
I'm not saying
simple-minded.
that's the shit. I'm just
Unlike
saying,
Josh and I
I'm just
who
saying.
are-
I'm thinking. Like
see
I
right
still
through
think my money is still on Meteor Man is Sauron. That's
So-
where my money.
So they're also fooling you on that front too.
Yeah.
So that's where my money's still on. That Meteor Man is Sauron. But I know like a lot of people are saying that Halbrand is. So I just think it's one to be one of those reveals that person is Sauron, either Halbrand or Meteor Man, or someone completely different. Galadriel takes her mask off and she's
Yeah.
like, haha.
That's why I was so
It's
bad
me.
at. That's why I was so bad at acting. Gotcha. I don't think Sauron's going to be revealed.
I
think
so.
a mini boss is going to be revealed, or some
For
basically
some reason, I thought just a mini boss.
a little
a
version
dwarf-
of him.
a dwarf
Yeah,
boss.
yeah. No, there has to be one more conflict in this last episode, and so whether that's Adar coming back in force or something else being introduced, but there has to be some other reveal. I don't think it's going to be Sauron. I think Sauron's too big. I think they got to play the game more with Sauron.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I wonder if you might be able to have Adar go to talk to Sauron at the end, and you don't really see Sauron, you just see him from behind, kind of a thing. Then they can play into you don't know who he is still for
Yeah.
next season.
and then he'll go, fine, I'll do it myself. And he'll put a ring on and walk off.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Adar has to be informed on these plans. Like, this was all orchestrated.
Right.
So Sauron obviously has had communication with him. So I would believe that
Yeah.
he would contact him
I think-
now that he's escaped.
I think my preference is I still want Sauron to already be with the elves, like kind of like
yeah.
manipulating them. So if I had a preference, I would want that to kind of be revealed. Like we're introduced to a new character that's helping Celebrimbor make the rings, and we kind of know through a reveal, like Jonah said, like a flashback, we see that he's the one that poisoned the tree, did stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then that sets him up for next season. Of you're like, oh, this guy's already around, and is he Sauron?
Because what's the name of the Sauron as the elf?
He's Anatar.
So Anatar. Like, what if they did that as a reveal at the end, where you see like this character, even if it's like, or he even comes in, he's like, introduce himself.
Hi, my name's
Anatar.
Anatar. And everyone's like, okay.
Okay.
All right. Done.
But everyone watching is like, oh no. I mean, I think that has to be something like that, where it's Sauron and you get a face
He
to
winks at
either
the
a
camera.
version of him.
He
Yeah.
goes, hey.
Gosh, I'd stop watching it.
Or he's walking away and then like he turns around and he's got like his mark like
Yeah, on his neck.
back of the tattoo, and it like burns a little bit. You're like, oh, it's him.
These are all really good ideas.
Yeah.
These are all jokes, by the way. These aren't real.
Yeah.
Real writers wouldn't do what we tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm interested to see where the season ends off.
Yeah. I agree with Corey. I think the Sauron reveal would just feel too early. I was thinking with like the Balrog or something like that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Balrog would be cool. Maybe that's the mini boss. A Balrog comes up and
Maybe
the
it's
dwarves
a
have to
mini
take him out.
Balrog.
Yeah, a mini one. Yeah, just a little
Not the real one.
Harfoot sized one. Yeah. I really like the fact that this was like an hour 15 or something like that. It was something really long.
You got to feel these last two episodes are going to be like longer, right?
I
Last
think
one-
so.
It's gonna be around.
You
that
heard it here
same length.
first. Season finale is going to be 2.5 hours.
It might be an hour and a half. I think it might be long.
I think this next one's 120. Yeah.
There's still plenty of storylines going on that they need to kind of wrap up
Yeah.
before they don't have to wrap up everything for the season.
Yeah,
so, but still, I think they've been going pretty long. So, I think probably two of my minor nitpicks are
Picking nits.
the conversation between Galadriel and Halbrand, where I was like, "Are you guys,
too.
are you guys suggesting you guys have something for each other?"
You know, I didn't take it that way.
I didn't either.
See, yeah, and I don't know if I think you can take it either way, but for me, like, I just don't really want that. Like, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
I don't want them to like have a relationship. The only way
Because they're already doing that with
right, it would be a
Legolas 2.0.
retread.
Yeah.
The only way I would probably excuse it is if they, in the books, there's a book. Galadriel's brother actually has like a relationship, like
With
once-
Halbrand?
yeah, with a human woman, and they have like a long conversation about like, yeah, this doesn't work because I'm timeless and you're not, kind of a thing. So if they kind of repackage that with Galadriel, I'm like, oh, I could see like that would make me get on board a little more, but I really don't want that to be the case. Yeah.
I didn't see it as a love thing. I saw it as a if we go back to the first episode, she gets she's the commander of the armies of the north, right? And all her men desert her, right?
Yeah.
They're like, and so she's been sent off to the Undying Lands. She doesn't do that, right? And this is the first time she then feels like a kinship with like brothers in arms kind of
Yeah.
thing. And he's been this whole time running away from responsibility. So I think that's how I took it. Not
Yeah.
as like, oh, look at they're shipping them. Oh, they're in love.
Yeah.
It more of like, wow, I felt
Like
a
she's found someone
connection
loyal.
in like us human and elf fighting side by side.
Right.
That's how I took it more. Now they might have intended it to be more romantic, but for my thing, it felt more that way. Like it's finally like somebody has taken her side,
Yeah.
as opposed to like everyone like being like, no, you're crazy, we're done with you kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's how I took it.
You could also kind of look at it like, oh, it's the elves and men working together
Yeah.
again. like they did to fight Morgoth. So yeah, I can see that too. But yeah, that was just one of those things that I was like, I really hope you guys don't do that.
Yeah.
And then my other minor nitpick is a lore thing where Elendil, when he lands, sets foot on Middle Earth, he basically says a vow in Elvish. And it's what Aragorn says at his coronation, this little song he sings. So he says those exact words. Yeah, that. And I was like, I really kind of wanted it to like say that just for my.
They really kind of skipped the whole them landing. It
Yeah.
was really
Deleted scene.
Yeah.
But
I mean, maybe
That's
they'll
my
go
nitpick.
back to it.
yeah, that'd
Like
be
maybe
cool.
maybe it's at another point where he'll do it or something when he sees his other son, because his other son's somewhere on Middle Earth, right?
No, he's on Numenor. They said because he's on the other side of the island.
Oh, I
Oh.
thought maybe I misread that. I thought they were saying that he was
That's what I thought. too.
on Middle Earth. That he went off to follow his
Yeah.
to Middle Earth. I thought
I
that's
didn't
what.
think so. I thought they were just saying he was on the west side of the island.
Oh, yeah. I thought that.
Well, I thought by west they meant like
Sildor, he's just down the street.
Yeah.
Let's
West
go
is the wrong
see him
way.
if you care
Yeah.
so much. I took it as he's in Middle Earth
Yeah.
as well.
I don't know.
Maybe we have to.
maybe we'll have to go back.
Rewatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know in the comments who's right, me or Josh, or Mick, or Corey.
Because I feel like they haven't made it seem like they've gone to Middle Earth before.
I thought they said.
But
They said that they were like the loyalists, or whatever, like the true, and so that's why Isildur wanted to go, because he said you're just like your brother. That's what I thought. That's what. I mean, I
Man,
have
I'm
to rewatch
confused
it.
now. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I thought he was on Middle Earth.
Dude, if we're wrong, dang. That's crazy. Because I feel the exact same way. I thought that was the whole point.
Yeah.
Is that he was unreachable. He defied,
Yeah,
did his
he's
own
over
thing.
there. Yeah,
Okay, well, I don't know.
now he's just on the west side.
Dang, he was just downtown.
Just chilling.
I was
Beach resort.
going to go back to Galadriel and Hellbrand, that moment. It actually felt for me like it was more like she like recognized, like it almost felt like there was like a second of realization. And I'm not sure exactly what she was realizing, but I bet some people think it's like a romantic thing. I think there's some people who might think that like she recognizes that he's more powerful than he leads on to be. And I think that's the one I'm more like leaning into.
Because he's Sauron, obviously.
He's really Sauron.
She's like, I felt it too. And she gave him the side eye.
He's like, oh,
Very
shoot.
astute, Sea Dog. Picking up on what she's laying down.
She put on her little scouter.
Yes, power
Power
level.
9,000. It's Sauron. Yeah, I think that's what was going on.
Yeah. And they probably left it intentionally vague on
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
So good on you. Good on you. All right. Anything else about the episode?
Again, I just to re-say this, but the music I thought was incredible in this episode,
Music was good.
Yeah.
especially that horse scene. That no.
Oh, I did like her being like
Oh,
doing the Noralim Philip or whatever. She
yeah,
does.
the Berlo. Whisper in her ear. Yeah, make him go faster. Did you see how they like kind of sped it up?
sped up.
Eh.
I actually liked
It was cheap. It was cheap. It was cheap. It was cheap. It
Well,
was
that's what
cheap.
they
It was
do
cheap.
in like Lord of the Rings, right?
They just
it was
amped
epic.
up the frames, dude. It's like, okay.
Thought it was epic.
Eh,
No, the horse really started moving fast.
Push that
Corey.
NOS button.
That horse reacted to
I was
the
gonna say,
Elvish.
sorry, one more thing before we leave. I'm sorry. I did want to actually
Where you going?
offline end of the video or podcast, wherever you're watching or listening to this. This is the first episode that I actually felt something. It was the moment where they wrote in, because I'm a sucker for just classic tropes. So when she wrote in, and I can't even remember what she said, but she said something while she's on the horse, and I was like, nice.
This is Sparta.
Yeah, this is as she kicked someone off a ledge. But it was good. It was like that moment of them running in and kind of saving them.
That was cool.
I actually felt a little bit of like goosebumps.
Yeah. That was a cool scene.
And her stuff.
That's the first time this whole series I felt.
And the
like
stuff she did on the horse, I thought was pretty legit. When she
like
goes to
dodging the
side,
arrows, yeah.
and I was like, and cuts the guy's head off. I was like, okay. I see you there, little G,
Little G. Galadriel.
little
Yeah.
Galadriel. You know,
I also liked Bronwyn's speech to Theo when he's like, "What did you used to tell me?" And they kind of she's talking about light and darkness, and
Yeah.
it overlays with the people. I thought that was a good moment.
Yeah. All right.
nice. Well, that'll do it for episode 6. Make sure you subscribe and like. Follow us on YouTube. That's where we'll be putting these videos. You can also listen to the podcast. But yeah, come back next week. We'll talk about episode 7, gearing up for the season finale of Rings of Power. So thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see y'all next week.